Baseball fans, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? We got some stuff to talk about tonight. We got a little Dylan Cease in the news. Could Marcus Stroman actually be a New York Yankee? Is this world turning upside down? My goodness. But you know what? I might actually kind of like it for those silly New York Yankees. Jorge Soler, is he down to 2 teams? Could he be a Red Sox? Could he be a Blue Jay? Speaking of the Red Sox, could Mike Clevinger be a Boston Red Sox at some point? We'll talk about that. And we got some Angels in the news. What's going on with them in free agency? And could they be selling? Not just selling off their players. I mean selling the franchise. How you doing, everyone? Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. I'm seeing some members in the chat. I'm seeing some moderators in the chat. I'm seeing some familiar faces. How you doing, everyone? How you doing? How you doing, Zach? Welcome. James, how you doing? James, thank you for tagging me in those stories earlier. I did not see any of those. And James, you are the man. Nicholas, how we doing, my friend? CRaz951, hello, my friend. How you doing? How you doing? Robert, how we doing? Tim, Ricky, hello. How we doing? Evil Wax 73. Cody, how you doing? Clutch Fire, how you doing? Matthew, how you doing? You're saying here Trout needs to demand a trade now. I'm actually going to talk a little Mike Trout tonight. He's actually in the news a little bit. We'll talk about him. CRaz951 has now been a member for 22 months. You're amazing, my friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, I probably got to change that member video thing that plays, because that is Alex Verdugo, and he is no longer on the Red Sox. And, you know, I mean, we might have to update that. They don't do the cart thing anymore every time they get a home run, so I'm going to have to change that. Anyway, I'm rambling. How you doing, everyone? How you doing? We got Dylan Cease tonight, Marcus Stroman, Jorge Soler. We got the Angels, Mike Clevinger. That'd be kind of weird if he was going to the Red Sox. What are the Red Sox even doing? I didn't even know. But, everyone, thank you for stopping by tonight. Thank you, thank you. If you can, to help us get started, just hit that like button for me. That's all I ask. If you can hit the bell notification, that would be amazing, too. Share the show if you can. That would be greatly appreciated. And, everyone, I actually do have some new videos that I've posted in the last couple of days. And if you haven't seen them, go check them out. I've actually posted quite a few videos over the last few days. I haven't even realized. Actually, going back over the last week, I've posted 4 videos over the last week. My goodness, what the heck are all of you doing if you haven't seen them? I came up with a video on some blockbuster trades, a video on the craziest off seasons of all time. I came up even with some Masataka Yoshida trade proposals. Those are fun. And then Jesus Luzardo. I posted that last night. It was a bit of a late upload. Be on the lookout for this week. I'm going to be doing one on Dylan Cease. Going to be doing one. I'm even going to be doing one on Trevor Bauer. I even got one for Bauer, the best landing spots for Trevor Bauer. If that were to happen, I got a Shane Bieber one coming up. Got a lot of these little trade proposal videos coming up. And then I'll start getting into some free agent ones as well. So go check those out if you have not already. I'll get to our sponsor a little bit later, which is BetUS. So we'll get to that later. Here we go, everyone. Let's start off with the first story of the night, and that is Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease. This is a name we have heard on the trade market for a long time now. I mean, we thought this guy was going to get moved at the deadline this past season. Didn't happen. And everyone was thinking, yeah, this guy, he's got to get traded at some point this offseason. Well, I don't know. At this point. We had something with the Atlanta Braves at one point. It looked like there was momentum building towards a trade with the Braves. And it did not happen. And it's nice to see that we're actually starting to see these names that have been exchanged between the Braves as well as the White Sox, and then between the Reds and the White Sox as well. The Reds had been on it at one point. But the problem that Chris Getz is having, I think Chris Getz, he's just trying not to mess up in his first offseason. I think this guy is just holding firm as long as he can with Dylan Cease. Everyone knows with the White Sox, I mean, sure, do they still have some talent? Yeah, they do, right? They got some players there still. But, and then you could also consider the fact it's pretty wide open American League Central. I mean, who knows? I mean, we even got people, myself, thinking maybe the Tigers could win that division this year, right? Maybe the Twins take a bit of a step back. Who knows what the Guardians end up doing? Could the White Sox actually come together and maybe do something? And, maybe that could be a reason to keep Cease around. But I don't know, man. I just think, you've already been selling off some pieces. At this point, you are not going to get more value for Dylan Cease. Once that first day of the season starts and he's on the mound on opening day, his value is going to drop, right? Just like when you take a new car off the lot, right? That car is going to lose value as soon as you drive it off the lot, right? So as soon as he takes that mound on opening day, and if he's in a White Sox uniform, automatically the clock is ticking at that point. And if you trade him at the deadline, I mean, you're going to be losing a ton of value there. And I'll even show you, actually, if you go to baseball trade values, you all know I love my baseball trade values. But if you sign up for a subscription for the year, you can use my code HYDE. You get 10% off. Take a look, actually. All right. We can actually see what the median value would be for Dylan Cease. We can actually look at his future trade value, and their timelines have actually been pretty accurate, right? So as of right now, you're looking at a median value right around $40 million or so, right? That's as of today. However, once you get to the deadline, right? As you can see here, that is estimated to drop to around $24 million on the median. Now, sure, it's the trade deadline. There's going to be a market, but who knows how much over that median surplus you'll get, right? Maybe you get into the 30s, right? Right now, trading him is going to get the best value in return, right? So with Dylan Cease, I personally think the White Sox got to trade him. Now, there has been some reported trades that have been on the table this offseason so far, right? Let's go to the Atlanta Braves. I'm not sure where they put it here. Where did they put it? I know they had it here. Well, whatever. I thought I read it somewhere in there. Never mind. But there was a proposal out there with the Atlanta Braves at one point, and I can confirm, I have a little birdie that's told me the offer that's been on the table. You're looking at AJ Smith-Shawver. You're looking at Bryce Elder on there. They had Vaughn Grissom on the table at one point, which that actually does say here. Jesse Rogers is saying that he heard of Vaughn Grissom among others. Those others were Shawver and Elder, right? So that's what I was told. And if we go take a look at that trade, it's just like, are you kidding me? So taking a look, we got Cease going to the Braves. And then from the Braves, they were going to be sending over Shawver. Elder was proposed as well. And then Vaughn Grissom was around $17 million, who is now on the Red Sox. So already, with just Shawver and Elder, you are already right around the median value for Cease. And if we take a look at the range, you're looking at as low as $32 million all the way up to $48. So, yeah, maybe you could add a little something on here, sure. But Grissom, that's a good amount of value that he had, and they were turning that one down. So, that was a little crazy to me. And then we had the Cincinnati Reds, right? So according to this rumor, there was first round pick Rhett Lauder, which is really surprising to me. I would think, man, you just drafted this guy. I don't know. It's not very often, right? A very high draft pick ends up getting traded like just months later, right? And then we had Edwin Arroyo and Connor Phillips on the table there as well. So if I were to put this in here, right, you're looking at, so Connor Phillips was around 20. Then we had Rhett Lauder, who's around 14. And then I believe the other one was Petty. No, it was Edwin Arroyo. So Edwin Arroyo, he's around 15. So yeah, that kind of lines up with right around what Cease's value is. So, but they're holding out for more talent, and I'm wondering if they're going to get it. I don't know if they're, to me, I think you're on the right track with this. At some point, Chris Getz is going to have to make a move. It would be so silly if he held on to Dylan Cease until the trade deadline. Because you also have to think, too, value's going to come down. What if he gets hurt? Right? What if something happens? Shoulder, elbow, I don't know, he starts having back problems. I don't know. Whatever. Knee, something, hip. What if he starts having little injuries? Right? Then his value is going to go down even more. To me, it just makes no sense. If you're going to trade him, you should do it now. Like, I'm surprised that, like, even this Reds offer, if this was true, you didn't take this? You got a first-round pick in Rhett Lauder, who just shoved in the College World Series, a decent pitching prospect in Connor Phillips, Edwin Arroyo, who pretty much has kind of nowhere to go, right? He was just a throw-in, basically, for the Luis Castillo trade. But this could have been a really nice package, like for the White Sox to get. And you could even say the same thing about the Atlanta Braves. You're getting a couple of guys, Vaughn Grissom. Like, what in the world? Like, what are we doing? I don't know, man. I don't know. He's holding out. I really don't think, maybe it could end up getting you maybe like one more piece. Like, sure, right? But I don't know. Like, it's risky, man, because you got to think these other teams, they're going to go out there. They're going to go make some other moves. What if, when there comes a time, all right, he's thinking, all right, I got to trade Cease now, right? Spring training's right around the corner. I got to make a deal. Well, what if all these teams are basically, they're just thinking, well, no, hey, you had your chance, man. Like, we tried to make a deal, but no, we're set now. We're good with our team, right? So I think Getz is making a really big mistake holding on. Who knows? Maybe it ends up paying off. Maybe it could. Maybe some teams get desperate, right? Let's say my Red Sox just add nothing, right? Let's say they just swing and miss on anything out there. I know that it looks like they're looking for shorter deals in free agency, but Craig Breslow has said multiple times, the trade market could be a thing for the Red Sox to pursue, to obtain cost-controlled starting pitching. Now, personally, my preference would not be Dylan Cease. Go follow me on X. I put out a big thing a little earlier, a couple hours ago, getting into like what Andrew Bailey, he talked with Rob Bradford today, and what things he's looking for with his pictures. And I kind of took those things he was looking for, and I looked at the numbers, and I came up with a group of pictures that could make some sense for the Red Sox to go after. Sure, yeah, Cease, he doesn't throw a lot of strikes, but let's say, maybe a team like the Red Sox could get desperate. If we were to look at the projections here for starting pitching for this coming season as of right now, according to Fangraphs, right? I mean, maybe the Yankees, maybe they really want to, solidify that rotation even more. But if you're looking at some teams near the bottom here that are trying to get themselves set up, right, for this upcoming season, the Orioles right here, right, they make a ton of sense for Dylan Cease. I mean, if you had Cease at the top of this rotation with Bradish and G-Rod and then Means in the middle, I think that's really solid moving forward. So the Orioles make a ton of sense for Dylan Cease. They could also make a lot of sense for Jesus Luzardo. So I wonder with the Orioles, would they rather pursue the guy that has one more year of control in Jesus Luzardo. We'll have to wait and see on that. But Cease definitely could make some sense for the Orioles. You know, who knows? Maybe even the Angels. We'll get to the Angels in a little bit, but I mean, I feel like the Angels could use something in this rotation. Maybe they could come up with something. I don't know. The Rangers could absolutely use someone like Dylan Cease. They have injury concerns in that rotation. Probably not the Padres. They're pretty thin in their prospects. Again, my Red Sox, they do make a lot of sense if you could find the right package. Probably not the Giants. I would imagine, could the Cubs maybe bring him back home? You just had, Shota Imanaga sign with you. So maybe that could be something. Again, the Yankees, they've been linked. That's possible. The Cardinals, if they really wanted to make another upgrade here, bringing in Sonny Gray, you got Gibson and Lynn, who are both projected for pretty decent years. So honestly, I'm a fan of the Cardinals rotation. I like the innings. But if they could add a little bit more stuff like Dylan Cease, that would be great. So if we were to take a look at the top 10 pitching staffs, probably not the Twins, probably not the Mariners, probably not the Blue Jays. Again, we talked the Reds. That could make some sense, but they went out there and they got Frankie Montas. Let's see how he does this year. So probably not the Dodgers. I'll tell you, man, I wonder if the Phillies could be an interesting fit. Zach Wheeler's going to be a free agent next year, and you got Cease for 2 years. We always know Dave Dombrowski. He likes to go out there and make a deal. And I feel like they really could use a 3 in this rotation. Philly fans, listen, I'm not trying to, I'm just saying. I don't know. I feel like that could be pretty good, right? Cease is your 3. I'm just saying, right? And then the Atlanta Braves. Honestly, I still think the Atlanta Braves could go get him, right? Strider, Fried, and you still have Cease as your number 3, right? Morton's your 4, or Sale's your 4, and then Morton's basically your 5. I wouldn't count the Braves out. Maybe the Braves end up budging, right? So, yeah, teams could definitely still go after him. I feel like the Braves at this point, they pivoted. They went to Sale, right? Could they still go after him? Yeah, sure. They definitely could. But we'll have to wait and see. As the clock ticks and, as more of these free agents come off the board, let's say a team, with Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, maybe they swing and miss and they think, oh, crap, we got to go get a guy, right? Stroman, we'll get to him in just a little bit. And you got some other pictures down here, like Lorenzen, right? You got Clevenger. We'll talk about him later, too. So, Cease, right now, you're looking at Snell, Montgomery, and Cease, right? So, I don't know. For me, I could see if the Red Sox are willing to part with some beef in their system, I think they could be a possibility. It depends, right? I don't know. I just feel like I'm getting the feeling like they could be a good landing spot if they swing and miss on other options out there. All right, that could be. I think they have other options that they would rather go to first, right? I would even think they would rather have Jesus Luzardo first, right? Someone that's under control for 3 years, where Dylan Cease is 2, right? Funny enough, though, when I was looking at the numbers a little earlier with Dylan Cease and, Jesus Luzardo, Andrew Bailey, new Red Sox pitching coach, he likes guys that throw strikes. Dylan Cease, Jesus Luzardo, Blake Snell, those guys don't really throw a lot of strikes. Right? Jordan Montgomery throws a lot of strikes, so that could make some sense, right? He doesn't have as much stuff as someone like Cease or Luzardo, right? So we'll have to wait and see. But to me, I think Cease probably ends up getting moved. I think it's just waiting for these other guys to come off the board. Once Snell comes off the board and once Montgomery comes off, I think that's when it can heat up. We'll see. So, moving on here. Speaking of pitching, and actually, real quick, let me just get to that super chat really quick, because I think we had one get dropped. Everyone, if you can, hit that like button for me. The goal for tonight is 200. I will actually, I'll put the poll. Can we get to 200 likes? We had a couple of super chats, actually. Ben's Pitching Clips, $5 super chat. The interview you did with Scott was so funny. He has AJ, funniest man alive. So none of y'all's jokes were landing. Would love to see more with you three. Yeah, man, that was pretty cool. All right. So in case any of you missed it, I was actually on Ball Cap Sports, Jim's channel, and we do the Barreled Up podcast together now. If you weren't aware, and we actually had a show today with Scott Braun, and that was great. Right, that was really awesome, right? He used to be on MLB Network, and now he does the Foul Territory stuff. They were actually just talking with Jonathan Papelbon today. That was pretty cool. So go check that out if you haven't already. And, yeah, we just talked some good baseball. So, yeah, AJ Przinsky, that's a funny guy. Ben, thank you for the super chat. Adam, $2 super chat. Does the future of the Yankees hinge on Soto? I mean, that would be really nice to have Juan Soto there for a long time alongside Aaron Judge. I'm just saying. That would be. I think Juan Soto is going to be a Yankee for life. That's just me. I don't know. He just looks like a Yankee to me. Thank you, Adam. Dodger Blue, $2 super chat. Trying to support, but I'm a broke little kid. Hey, $2. That's great, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. You don't got to drop anything. All I ask is you hit a like for me. That's it. Right? That's all. But thank you. I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you. Thank you for stopping by tonight. So, real quick, let me just put the poll in the chat. Can we hit 200 likes? I think we can. Can we do it? We'll have to see. Now, let's talk about Marcus Stroman, shall we? Oh, this is an interesting one, right? Yankee fans, Marcus Stroman, you guys have had your rivalry for a while now. Marcus Stroman, he said some things in the past that Yankee fans don't like all that much, saying they spend all this money, but they never win, yada, yada, yada. All right, so there's been a whole bunch of stuff Marcus Stroman has said. However, funny enough, like Bob Nightingale said the other day that the Yankees had declined to make an offer, and then the very next day, Bob Nightingale puts out that the Yankees and Marcus Stroman have mutual interest. It's like, what the heck? What? You literally just said yesterday that the Yankees haven't even, that they were not interested. I don't know. What the heck is going on? But it looks like we could be progressing. Yankees and Marcus Stroman have had recent discussions, and according to John Morosi, the Yankees have held productive discussions with Marcus Stroman. No indication that a deal is close at this time. Bob Nightingale reported over the weekend that the Long Island native had expressed interest in pitching for the Yankees, though the team hadn't made an offer at the time. The way he worded it, I don't know. I guess technically, if you read what he said decline to make an offer. You got to watch out for the media people, man. They like to word things, and they just like to twist things. Like one word, right? If you had written, one word can make all the difference. If he had written it like the Yankees have yet to make an offer, or the Yankees have shown interest but have declined to make an offer at this time, right? Instead, he just put the Yankees have declined to make an offer. That's like such a media tactic right there, and it drives me absolutely nuts because they do that on purpose. They do it on purpose because they know Bob Nightingale knows as much flack as he gets from people. He knows people are going to take his words. They're going to put it on Twitter. Oh my God, did you see what Bob Nightingale said? He said the Yankees, they declined to make an offer to Marcus Stroman. It's very clear what he was doing with that sentence, right? I'm just saying. However, according to Morosi, and hey, you never know with Morosi either, he was the one that was saying Ohtani was on the flight to Toronto, and all of a sudden the guy from Shark Tank got off. Right, so Morosi, he's another one. He's like the king of speculation. Right, he will make speculation sounds so good that it almost sounds like a fact. You have to be very careful with how John Morosi talks, right? Or listening when he's talking to you. You have to be very careful, and you have to listen very carefully to what he says, right? Because there's certain words that he uses that you just have to make sure you pick up on, right? So he will make basic speculation sound like an actual like thing that he's heard, even though he hasn't heard anything. So anyway, moving on. Marcus Stroman and the Yankees. To be honest with you, listen, when I woke up to this morning, I had some fun with it. I put a couple videos on my Twitter and or X. I'm trying to say X, but put a couple videos, had some fun with it. You know, Stroman, Verdugo, those guys, you know, they're full of passion, right? You know, Verdugo, he's on the way out, didn't have the greatest thing to say or the greatest things to say about the Red Sox. He threw some shade, right? You know, and Verdugo, he had his off-the-field issues, right? Showing up late, yada, yada, yada. So, whatever. Those two together, I mean, who knows, man? In the same locker room, if that happened, good grief. So, I had some fun with that this morning. However, I will say this. Say what you will about Marcus Stroman, but the guy goes out there and he competes, right? Does he make some noise along the way? Yeah, sure. Yeah, he can make some noise. But I will say with the Yankees in the last couple of years, you can even maybe say the last few years. I mean, go back. When was the last, like, fun season they had? You know, like 2017, 2018, 2019, right? Like the Savages in the box year. Like, feels like the Yankees just haven't really had, and I used the word energy today, right? But then I had Yankee fans coming after me. Zach G, I see you in the chat. I see you saying, oh, Josh Donaldson was that energy guy. But then I brought up the fact, well, Donaldson is an aging third baseman. Stroman looks like he's still got some legs under him. You know, it's different in my opinion. You know, Donaldson, yeah, that to me, in hindsight, it just didn't work out, right? Donaldson, he just did not fit in. I will say this, if Donaldson was productive, maybe that could have been a little bit different, right? The problem with Donaldson, though, is he just never got it together. And so, Stroman, though, I feel like with Stroman, he's just going to go out there and just throw the ball, right? You know, Yankees, you know, they'll probably suggest one thing, two things, right? But he's just going to go out there and pitch. So, he's a guy that's going to show some passion out there. And, you know, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing for the Yankees, right? Either way, I think it could be a good move. You know, looking at the numbers with Stroman, he's had good numbers over the last few years. I mean, if you go back, the last time he had an ERA under 3 was 2018, right? And he was up and down that entire year, but the FIP was still pretty good at 3.91. But ever since then, he's had a FIP in the 3s, an ERA in the 3s, an expected FIP in the 3s. He's been very consistent over the last 4 years, 5 years, right? I think this would be a nice, solid move for them. I just don't see them breaking the bank for someone like Blake Snell. I just don't. You just signed Rodon last offseason. I don't know, and then you probably want to look into keeping Soto for the long term. Sorry, Hal Steinbrenner, he's not going to have $300 million payrolls for years and years and years. You all know how Hal Steinbrenner is. He is not like his father. Not at all. So, Marcus Stroman on a short deal, like $20 million per year or something like, you know, in that range, yeah, I could see that. So, one thing I like about Stroman on the Yankees is that the Yankees have a good infield. Last year, the Yankees were 12th in outs above average in their infield last year. So I think that could be a really nice fit. You know, Marcus Stroman is always near the top when it comes to the ground balls, keeps the ball in the yard. I mean, he's been very good at keeping the ball in the yard in his career. Last year, or in 2022, that was the only season in his career where his home runs per 9 were over 1, and it was barely over 1. So I think that's going to be good. You know, and you got the short porch in right field in Yankee Stadium. I think that's going to work out really well. I like the move, honestly. And the ground ball percentage, it was way up this past season than it was in the last couple of years. I like the move. Could it end up being an absolute disaster, right? And Stroman just has like a complete and utter meltdown in New York. I don't know, but he's been in New York before, right? It wasn't very long, right? He was there in 2019 for half a year. 2020, he didn't play. And then he was there for a whole year in 2021. So he can handle New York. I don't know, man. I like it. I like it. I think it's funny to like kind of joke about like, him and Verdugo, right? Because those are two personalities that could end up being more negative than positive. But I like this move. That's just me. So we will see. If you had Stroman in this rotation, I would imagine he would be the 3. I would think he would be the 3, right? Cole, Rodon, Stroman, and then you got Schmidt and Cortez as your 4-5. I think that's good. That's really good in my opinion. So, Yankee fans, if you end up getting Marcus Stroman, which it definitely could look like it, I think you should be happy about that. Now, could it end up just being, could it just be leverage? Yeah, it's always possible, right? It's always, stuff gets out there. Maybe another team is in the mix. We'll talk about the Angels in a little bit. There was a report today that Ron Washington, he loves Marcus Stroman, right? That could be a good fit. The Angels definitely need some pitching. Is Stroman really like that ace kind of pitcher? No, I think he's a 2-3 in a rotation. But the Angels could definitely use someone like that. They just lost Ohtani. So, yeah, I know Stroman can't hit, but he can pitch. So, who knows? I feel like he could just end up going to the Yankees. I think it would be a good move. So, who knows? But when it comes to making bets on where guys are going to go, your number one source is BetUS. You got to go check out BetUS, everyone. Number one stop for all your online sports betting needs. I actually made a couple of bets a few days ago. I dropped a bet on Julio Rodriguez winning the AL MVP, NL MVP. I got Fernando Tatis Jr. all day. I feel good about those two winning the awards. I know we're not in prediction season yet, but I'm already giving you a spoiler. Those are the two that I'm going with for MVP this coming year. But they got a whole ton of other ways to try and win some cash. But please make sure you do it responsibly. And they have now opened up Cy Young votings and Rookie of the Year votings. So if you want to go check that out, go for it. Those are now active. You can go play some bets on stat leaders as well. And then they even got a couple of specials when it comes to Judge and Ohtani next year, as well as the Dodgers. You can go bet already on who wins divisions, pennants, and the World Series. It's not just baseball. You got basketball. You got hockey. You got golf. You got martial arts, for crying out loud. My goodness. I mean, I don't know anything. I don't even know. Who's the number one martial arts guy and woman in the world? I got no clue, but you can go bet on that if you want. They got a whole bunch of other different ways as well. You got live betting. That's another thing. Casino, race book. They got a whole bunch of different promotions. And BetUS TV, the YouTube channel, they are doing a show Monday through Friday now. I go on every other Friday. I won't be on this week, but I'll be on next Friday. But go check that out as well. Go subscribe. So, everyone, please make sure, though, at the end of the day, you play responsibly. That is the most important thing. The link is in the description down below. You get a 125% bonus when you click on that link. Back to the show, everyone. Back to the show. Here we go. So let's get to... you all know I couldn't stop talking about my Red Sox for too long. But we got a little something here from John Heyman today. And he's been doing the Bleacher Report stuff this offseason. He's been hopping on. And he had a little something to say about Jorge Soler.
Jorge Soler. I think Boston and Toronto are the teams that are most likely at the moment. Of course, it's a fluid situation. Things can change. terrific offensive player, had a very good year with the Miami last year. Miami seems to be retooling at the very least. I don't see him going back to Miami. Seattle looked into it. I'm not sure that is going to happen either.
Okay, so looking like it's down to, according to Heyman, down to the Red Sox and the Blue Jays, and that does make sense. Now, here's the thing. Here's where I'll actually give the Blue Jays an advantage right now, because right now they have a pretty open slot for DH at this point. Danny Jansen is currently projected to be the DH. So I'm wondering, how far are the Blue Jays willing to go, or how much further are they willing to go than the Red Sox? Because right now, the Red Sox, you have Yoshida projected to be the DH. There will be some left field play definitely this year, but in my opinion, I think based off of the defense last year, and yeah, I know, like, you got left field in Fenway Park, it's the Green Monster, I get it, yada, 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 but Yoshida's defense was pretty bad last year. He's not going to turn into a Gold Glover. Can we just, I get the people that want to defend it, and they want to be positive about it, but come on, how much better is he going to get? Sure, can he get a little bit better? Maybe can he, improve the routes a little bit? Sure, absolutely. Maybe that'll help. But when we have seen guys in the past where their defensive metrics are so bad, you don't very often see a big improvement. Sure, there have been examples, I would imagine, that I'm not thinking of at the moment. But when your defense is a negative 14.9, you're one of the worst defenders in the league, how much better is that going to get? It could get better. It is projected to get better. But is it really going to get better to the point where it's just a little below average? I don't know. I wouldn't bank on it. So right now, Yoshida is considered more of the DH. The problem with this, in my opinion, Jake Hazen in the chat, you got that right, buddy. Giraffe Neck Robbie is here. So the problem with Yoshida here, let me back up a little bit. It's not really a problem. Yoshida is going to have a good year in 2024. I feel like he's going to get even better numbers, a regular offseason, a regular spring training, coming over from Japan last year, that probably had some wear and tear in itself, just transitioning to a new country, new style of play, different schedule, definitely an adjustment. So I think Yoshida is going to have a really good year next year. I have no problem with Yoshida, the player. I think he's going to be solid. I've said this multiple times, though. There is an argument that the Red Sox right now are a bit lefty heavy, and they are missing, in my opinion, and probably other people's opinions too, a middle-of-the-order right-handed bat. If you add Soler, you can bat him cleanup. He's been a good cleanup hitter in his career. You could bat Devers third. I think Story's going to have a bounce-back year. I think he's going to be pretty solid. Trevor Story has batted mostly second in his career. So that would be a good spot for him, in my opinion. So that would be a more balanced lineup with Jorge Soler instead of Masataka Yoshida. The Red Sox are also trying to clear payroll. You can eat a little bit of Yoshida's salary. And I've been seeing some people out there saying, why would you pay another team to take Yoshida? All right, so if he's making $18 million this coming year, right? You pay a few million per year. Okay, you're paying a few million. All right. But if I'm saving $15 million, now you're not going to be paying the whole thing, right? If you can pay a few million, save about $15 million bucks every single year, use that for some pitching, go after obviously Jorge Soler with that money as well, then yeah, that to me makes sense. I can see that. I would love to keep Yoshida. I hope they find a way to do it, but it's going to be hard. If you want a right-handed bat in Soler, which they do kind of need, right? You need a power right-handed bat. You don't got Justin Turner anymore. And in my opinion, I would rather just stick with Tyler O'Neill out in left field, right? So that's just me. I'm not saying Yoshida's a bad player. I'm just saying maybe it's not the best fit necessarily. That's just me. So, JK's, and I know, my friend. I know Giraffe Neck Robbie is the running joke on this channel. I don't ever get to go back to last offseason. I felt like I never talked about my Red Sox last offseason, besides Xander Bogaerts, right? So, we got something to talk about, feels like every day with my Red Sox. So, oh man, Lock Smart. Could you imagine that? I mean, if Stan wasn't making that much money, I wonder, could you imagine that? Yoshida for Stan? Oh, that would be fun. The Yankees, they were interested in Yoshida last year. But yeah, no, that's not happening. So there's an argument for the Red Sox to add Soler. I'm not surprised. I will say this, though. If the Red Sox add Soler, I think there's a massive chance Yoshida gets moved. You could still just stick with Yoshida out and left, but then who's going to play right? It would have to be Duran or O'Neill. Neither of them have played a lot of right field in their career. So you could still make it work with Soler and Yoshida, but again, the defense in left field, there's an argument for trading Yoshida. I'd love to keep him, though. I would not mind at all. I would not mind. As for the Blue Jays, listen, the Blue Jays, they got to make a splash. They got to do something. And to be honest with you, I mean, right now, I think you could say, it's a cleaner fit, right? And the Blue Jays, it's not just let's be honest, the Red Sox need pitching more than Jorge Soler. Let's just get that out of the way. The Blue Jays need a bat. They absolutely need a guy that can thump in the middle of that order. They didn't have one. I've said this multiple times this offseason. They had not one guy last year besides Davis, Babe Ruth, Schneider hit over 500, have a slugging over 500. Granted, that was over a very small sample size, but not one other guy had a slugging percentage over 500 last year. Soler would be a huge addition for the Blue Jays. And listen, I'm not saying just because they were willing to give $700 million for Shohei Ohtani, that doesn't necessarily mean you're still going to break the bank for someone like Jorge Soler, right? Shohei Ohtani was worth $700 million. Well, some people out there will say no, he's not worth that. But no, by the end of that deal, that contract is going to pay for itself. It's just going to be, my goodness, it's a lot of moolah. Jorge Soler, though, that's a little different. So I think the Blue Jays are a very strong contender for Jorge Soler. They need to add something. I think their pitching staff is fine. Their starting rotation, I think, is amazing. And let's be real, I know a lot of people are going to laugh at what I'm about to say, but Alek Manoah, if you get him right, there's your free agent addition for the starting rotation. Yeah, it's going to take some work. He's going to have to get himself going. But if he gets back to some decent numbers, like an ERA in the 3s, even the low 4s, he makes 32 starts, then yeah, there's a free agent addition in itself, right? You could add something else for the bullpen. I think the back of the bullpen's pretty good, but could you maybe add a little something else? Sure. Why not? You did add... Actually, no, you haven't added anything. So you could add something, but a bat is really what they need. So again, a lefty bat would have been really nice. You are pretty righty heavy. So if you add Soler, you're still going to have Biggio, Varsho, and then Kiermaier, who you also brought back. But yeah, I really do like the fit with Soler in this Blue Jays lineup. I think that would be really nice. Another big question too, right? It feels like, over the last couple of years, I don't know, man. It just feels like they haven't really been able to get. They did get Kiner Falefa. That's and Kiermaier brought back. But going back the last couple of off seasons now, they haven't really been able to lure that star player. Go back to Springer. Before that before the 21 season. Sure. But other than that, like they made the trade with, Berrios. You got Bassett. I forgot about Bassett. So, Well, you got Kikuchi. What am I talking about? Well, go back to last offseason and then this offseason so far. It feels like they haven't really been able to add that big name. So I think Soler would be great. That'd be a really nice bat for them. And that would get them going. That would give Vlad a bit more protection too. Man, could you imagine that? Vlad and Soler in the middle of that order? Man, oh man. Jim is here. Jim is here. Hey, Jock Peterson. I like that too. Now, I think, I think that's a good argument. If you had Jock Peterson, a lefty bat, which, could you use more of a lefty bat for the middle of that order? Break up the righties there? Maybe you could bat, I don't know. Where would you bat Peterson? Would Peterson be the cleanup guy? Or bat him 3 maybe? Nah, probably bat Peterson after Vlad. So I could see Peterson. Yeah, sure. I will say this, if the Blue Jays miss out on Soler, I would think that pretty much guarantees they're going to get Jock Peterson. It's never a guarantee, but I'd like Soler in this. I would hate it as a Red Sox fan, but I think it would look really nice, to be honest. That's just me. But then you could also say Jock Peterson would look good too. Either way, excuse my giraffe neck Robbie right now, but my goodness, I would freaking love Jorge Soler. I absolutely would. 2-year deal. The Red Sox, they don't want to give out any long-term deals. It fits perfect. Jorge Soler at Fenway Park. It's all I need. Well, and some pitching, but it's all I need for the offense. Please get some pitching. Let's get to the next story, shall we? Speaking of needs, well, actually, let's stay on my Red Sox. Speaking of needing pitching, Rob Bradford had an interesting story yesterday. Per source, interesting free agent option based on second half performance. Mike Clevinger has made it clear that Boston is one of his preferred landing spots. Let's talk about Clevinger first, right? Let's get to Clevinger. All right, let's talk about the numbers first. Let's just get that out of the way because there's more with Clevinger, right? And actually, let me pull these up here. Let's get this pulled up because it's not just the numbers. You got to talk about with Mike Clevinger. You got to talk about a little something else. But Clevinger last year did have some pretty decent numbers. 24 starts, a 3.77 ERA, a 4.28 FIP. Those are the best numbers we've seen from Clevinger since that 2019 season, right? When he went to the Padres in 2020, remember how big of a deal that was? Like, remember that? What a weird time that was, man. Like, Clevinger was like a massive deal when that happened. He was good in 2018 and 2019. That 2019 season he was having, he was dominant, man. He had a 4.5 F-WAR over 21 starts. Such a good season he was having. Then he got traded during that COVID season, and then he only made 4 starts, and then, his elbow blew up. Didn't even pitch in 21. And that was it. So last year, that was kind of his season to get back onto the field. And then he did look a lot better this past season with the Chicago White Sox. And if you look at the splits with Mike Clevinger, in that second half, he was looking pretty good, right? Right around the same amount of innings. But if we go to right here, the FIP in the first half was a 4.87. And then the FIP in the second half was a full run lower at 3.75. So he definitely was pitching a little better. He wasn't walking as many guys. The home run ball came down a little bit. So, yeah, he definitely got it together. However, it's not just numbers that we're talking about here, and some other numbers as well with Mike Clevinger. I actually pulled up here. Let me pull up these numbers with Clevinger. I got bored earlier, and I just went like kind of crazy on a post. And Lou Merloni actually shared it. Thank you, Lou Merlone. If you're out there, if you are watching the show, thank you for sharing my post. I put a lot of work into it. It was nice to see that it got out there a little bit. But one thing that I noticed with Mike Clevinger, number-wise, right, he was better than league average when it came to throwing first pitch strikes. He was above league average when it came to being in the zone. His stuff plus was better than league average. And when it came to his FIP, when he was ahead in the count, he was below league average, right? But he's a guy that does check off some boxes for the Red Sox. So you would think, well, okay, well, that sounds pretty good. He's probably not going to be all that expensive. What's the problem? Well, here's the problem with Mike Clevinger. All right. There was a little while ago that he was being investigated for some allegations of domestic abuse against the mother of his daughter, as well as abuse of the child. Right. And at Major League Baseball, they made a statement saying that they had completed the investigation. The comprehensive investigation included interviews of more than 15 individuals, in addition to Mr. Clevinger and the complainant, as well as a review of available documents, such as thousands of electronic communication records. The Office of the Commissioner has closed this investigation, and barring the receipt of any new information or evidence, the Office of the Commissioner will not be imposing discipline on Mr. Clevinger in connection with these allegations, right? And then there was a whole thing when Mike Clevinger, he came out to pitch, and he had a song. I don't even know who makes the song. I don't know any of the hot singles coming out today, but it was Gold Digger, I guess. He came out to that song, and then someone asked him about it, and he said, hey, I'll talk about my pitching instead of, my, I don't remember how he worded it, but he's like, I'll talk about my pitching and instead of the music that I play. But there is that. Now, yes, there wasn't anything found. However, you still just have that against you, right? It's still there, right? And personally, I don't know, man. In Boston, I don't see it. I just don't. I don't think the city would really welcome it. I just can't see it. I just can't see the city of Boston really being happy with it. I don't know, man. We'll see when it comes to Mike Clevinger, what they are projecting with him. If I go to the projected contracts, they're looking at a 2-year, $24 million deal. Well, I just mentioned a little earlier in the show that the Red Sox don't seem to be willing, according to Jared Carrabis, don't seem to be willing to go more than 2 years for free agents. He checks off those boxes. Jim, I see you in the chat. Starting picture 1. Jim, don't you do that to me. I need something this season, Jim. Please. Come on. It can't be too bad this year. Oh, for crying out loud. Can we please do something? But I don't know. I just think with that against him, I don't know if the Red Sox are very PR focused. Very PR focused. I don't think they do it. I don't know. If they're going to be bringing in guys, this could be a hot take. If you're going to be bringing in a guy that has allegations against him in the past, just bring in Trevor Bauer. I mean, to me, I bring Bauer in on like a 2-year deal. I'm just saying. I know people are going to be... If you go on Twitter, anytime there's anything about Trevor Bauer, it's always split right down the middle. You got people on this side and people on this side saying, yeah, bring in Trevor Bauer. And then you got the other people saying, no, absolutely not. We do not want Trevor Bauer, right? So to me, if I'm bringing in a guy that has allegations against him, I'm going Bauer all day. That's just me. I don't know. I'm not doing Clevinger. I'm doing Bauer. For me, personally, I'd rather just bring in Jordan Montgomery. That's just me. I mean, my goodness. We'll see. Another guy that I think could be on the radar for the Red Sox at one point, I'd be on the lookout for someone like Michael Lorenzen. Again, a guy that could get a cheaper deal. But surprisingly enough, in that post I made earlier, Michael Lorenzen actually checks off a lot of boxes. He throws a lot of first pitch strikes, which Andrew Bailey loves. He pitches in the zone a lot. He just throws a ton of strikes all the time. He has decent stuff. And the only thing that he's a little bit below league average when it comes to his numbers ahead in the count. That's his only thing. But I wonder if the Red Sox go more towards a guy like Michael Lorenzen. 2-year deal, 1 year with an option, $10 million per year. That sounds like a 2024 Red Sox kind of a deal. So that's the guy I wonder if they end up going after in free agency. We will see. We will see. We got one more story to talk about tonight, everyone. One more story. And that is the L.A. Angels. What the heck are the Angels doing here? We had a little something. What is this account? I just noticed this account. What is this? Oh, this just made me laugh. This is so funny. Anyway, here's the story. So this came from angelswin.com. I'm sure Angels fans, if there are Angels fans here in the chat, you probably know of this account. But they said here, by all reports, it looks like Artie Moreno is in a holding pattern on big free agent signings due to Bally's TV deal and the Angels owner debating on selling the team. I think and this is what I was laughing at. I just saw Mike Scioscia with a blue check mark at his picture, putting up a poll. Should Artie just sell? 97.2% out of 1,000 people saying yes. I've been saying Artie Moreno needs to sell this team for a long time. I just think it always trickles from the top. I don't know, man. You can see them make all the signings. You can see them do all the things. But I don't know, man. I don't see it. But that is something to pay attention to. And once again, like these TV deals, I am very intrigued with where Major League Baseball is in the next 5 years when it comes to all these, TV deals. What is going to happen here? Because we're seeing a lot of teams having problems with their TV. We'll see. We will see. But there was also a little something from Robert Murray saying that, or MLB insider Robert Murray says that they are considering signing a center fielder and moving Mike Trout to a corner, which honestly, yeah, I think that's a good idea. Am I the only one that thinks that? I think that's a very good idea. I think if you want to preserve Trout a little bit more, dude, I'm having that guy go play some left field and DH. Get that guy off his legs. I'm just saying, dude, you want his bat. He's not going to be that guy anymore that's doing those incredible catches that he was doing in the beginning of his career. He's been all right out in center field, but I say if they could go get a good defensive center fielder like Michael Taylor, I think that could be pretty good, right? Rashi Rosalind, the Angels are stupid enough to sign Bellinger. Listen, I'd be all for it, man. Dude, you just lost Shohei Ohtani. Go get a left-handed bat in Bellinger. That would be amazing. Please, I need that in my life. I need Artie Moreno to approve a deal for Cody Bellinger. I need it in my bones. It would be so funny. I need that. But really, with Bellinger, he's going to give you some better defense out there. And then you can just move Trout. All right, so let's go look at the team right now with the Angels. Please put Bellinger on the Angels. I know it says they're pausing the spending, but I'm just saying. So if you add a center fielder, I would imagine that would push probably Trout. Well, Taylor Ward's in left, and in right field right now, you got Moniak. So has Taylor Ward played right field before? I can't remember. And Taylor Ward, remember, he had that freaky accident, man, back in August, and his season ended up going down the tubes. So he mostly played left field last year. Has he even played right? Okay. Yeah, he played a lot of right field. Yeah, I forgot. He played a lot of right field in 2022. They moved him to left. So could they move him back to right field? He wasn't great. He had -3 defensive runs saved, but he had 2 outs above average. So I would imagine that you could just move Ward out to right. You could put Bellinger in center or Michael Taylor, someone like that. And then you can just put Trout in left. And then I would honestly, to be honest with you, I would have Trout play half a season in left and half a season at DH. Because you want his bat. So I'm all for it, everyone. I'm all for it. Angels, please go get Cody Bellinger. Hey. He's with the Dodgers for all those years. He'd just be going right down the street. I like it. It depends on what the Angels are going to be doing with the money. I could see a guy like Michael Taylor, like a cheaper signing, but he's going to give you some good defense out there. So we will see. But, if you are looking here, they could use a lefty. I'm just saying. Especially, if Ward is going to go out to right, then Moniak, he would be pushed to the bench, and he would basically be the platoon. But that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking probably Michael Taylor makes a bit more sense. That right-handed bat, platoons with Moniak. Well, no, that wouldn't be a platoon. Would it? Can Moniak play center field? Did Moniak play center at all last year? If he did, that'd be a good platoon. Fangraphs. Yeah, he did play center field. So you could just have a platoon of Moniak and Michael Taylor out there. I think that could work. So, yeah, I say they go that route. I say, hey, if you want to make a splash, go Bellinger. If you want to go for a guy that's going to give you some good defense out there, which I don't think is necessarily a bad idea. And honestly, I think the Angels maybe need to get away from this stigma of making these kind of splashy signings and maybe start making some cheaper signings that, instead of just going for the star players all the time. I think that would make some sense, right? Kind of get away from that, right? You signed Rendon a few years ago. All right, you brought in Drury back before last year. You've made so many signings over the years, and so many of them have been busts. I say probably just go Michael Taylor. That's just me. Everyone, I'm going to get out of here. I'm hungry, man. It's 10:30. Haven't even eaten my dinner yet. I got some chicken defrosted. I need to go cook that. But everyone, if you can, on the way out, hit that like button for me. Always appreciate when you hit that like button for me. Did we hit our like goal? We did hit our like goal, 200. If you can help us get to 250 on the way out, I will love you forever. If you can, everyone, make sure that bell is turned on. Share the show. Subscribe if you are new. And don't forget about the videos that I've been posting this past week. Go watch those videos. Go leave a comment on those videos. Let's help push those out into the algorithm a little bit more. And, hey, I always read your comments, everyone. I always read your comments. So go leave a comment in one of the videos. Tell me what you think. Everyone, tomorrow's Thursday, so we are scheduled to be on for tomorrow. If there's no news tomorrow, if there's just nothing to dig into tomorrow, probably won't do a stream. It felt like at one point every single night we were going to be doing like a stream, and it's been a little hit or miss lately when it comes to news, so be on the lookout for a stream. We are scheduled to have one tomorrow night, but if there's nothing, I probably won't do one. But I do plan on having at least a video out tomorrow, maybe 2. So be on the lookout for those. There will be content tomorrow. no matter what. At least a video. Maybe a video and a stream. Maybe even 2 videos. There will be something, so make sure the notifications are turned on. Have a good night, everyone, and I'll talk to you next time.